The volunteer sector are being asked to go and deliver a child-centred competition across the country without a clear definition of what a child-centred competition is. They're being asked to deliver fun. In order for those people to go and do that, they have to know what fun is. We know that football's fun, but we have to dissect it. Different children like different things. They find different things fun. So in our work, what we did is we identified player types. And it's what types of children interact with games in certain ways. Some children like treasure hunts. They like discovering things. Some children like mystery and suspense. These are all emotional qualities of fun. So when we were creating what we did, we had in mind a child-centred competition. This would allow the volunteer sector to go out there and actually deliver it. So we see ourselves as an organisation that can define child-centred competition for the volunteer sector.
I think it lends itself to inclusion very well because the children regulate themselves, and from what I understand about the rules and the processes, such as they are, is that everybody rotates and swaps and is included no matter what their skill levels are. So I imagine it would appeal to all sorts of people, different abilities.
When we brought the grassroots of the game into the Kikini system, they walked away with a completely different experience and also a completely different understanding of what competition is, which is one of the unintended outcomes. We actually asked the children not why they played football, what would they like to see in the game of football. And 90% of the time, 99% of the time, they came back with the same reasons that I had as a kid: to be left alone, not to be shouted at, to deal with issues themselves, and they want to play. Fundamentally, they want to play. And of course, they want to make friends and have fun. So we took those, and that's how we did the game redesign. Because the Kikini system, to me, the fabric of it is about developing their emotional and social skills to prepare them for the competition that they've got at the moment.
The system is a method of competition. So the system is applied to football. It can be applied to any sport. It's like a method of competition. We use different components. One of them is immersion. We want to immerse the children in something that's addictive. A league table sat at the bottom isn't addictive. A knockout competition isn't addictive. The competitive immersion gives them a scoring system. It gives them a motivational factor, and it gives them a reason to play. So the system itself is not a replacement for competition, it's a different option.
I give a 10 because it was fun and it was just a new way to play football, and like to play it how they did back in like the olden days. It was quite interesting because it's like really different to the normal football that you have.
What we did is we modified the game. So whenever a supporter, a parent or a coach on the outside wanted to instruct the children in any way, what we did is we locked the game down for 60 seconds and we tried it with a number of different games. And each of these games are mini challenges, which are exciting for the kids. Now the children unlock them within 10 seconds and then the game begins again. But the children come together and they work together to solve the problem. By changing the impact of the sideline in the game, it creates a silent sideline. It creates a real respect for the game. And the unintended outcome of that is that the parents on the sideline, not only do they have to mix because we put the mixed teams in there, but they begin to interact with themselves and not the game. They become supporters. They actually leave it alone. That's one of the major things that we think that we can bring to education of the game, which is how to manage the sidelines. There are formulas, there are things that are applied naturally when children come together and play that are being ignored because there's hierarchies of competition and there's competitive choices being made at the detriment of the children. So it was, can we take our background, can we take our childhood and engineer all of those components into a system that could then be transferred and say, well, here's a different option. So in a nutshell, we have to approach the system through the eyes of a designer. establish what types of fun work for different types of children and not just assume that the word fun is going to be good enough.
I stayed and watched an hour or 3 hours of Kikini today. I wouldn't even watch 5 minutes of professional football, so that's a massive difference. Professional football is just completely unjust and aggressive, and I don't want that in my life, and I don't particularly want that in my children's life. So this was lovely. It was all the kids getting involved, getting on together, playing football, having a good time. There was big kids, little kids, didn't matter what the shape or size was, how good they were. They all just got on and played. It was smashing.
A league table sits behind what we display. The children play a round-robin competition. So the system itself is a round-robin competition with a league table. However, what we do is we don't show the league table. We still apply a seeding, and as the seeding changes, so the 3 finals that we present as Destiny games change. So there is still a hierarchy, but we're using it in a different way. We don't need to display who the child is at the bottom. By changing what children see, you've changed the entire nature of the competition. So the system is a system of balance. We use handicap systems, a system of small games within the fixture. You play the game 3 times so that we can extract a result and you can remain motivated. And the end result, what am I playing for, is that these children will affect who they're playing in the final. They can change their final. They're affecting the future. So that's what the system is. It's cause and effect. Essentially, that's what it is. It's cause and effect.
The choices that we have in terms of displaying how good we are in the game in its current state are leaderboards that show the winners, the losers, and I think children get really hung up on that. In the current climate, status and kudos is very important for children, unfortunately, but that's what we live in. So therefore, when they look at a display board, they will see straight away whether they're going to be a winner or a loser. And I think that has a lot to do with the fallout.
Any display used is a leaderboard, often. So a league table, a round-robin competition with the knockout structure. These are leaderboards. It's a way of displaying performance and how you reward it. A knockout competition will display it by showing you who's in the next round. A league table will show you how you've rewarded a win for points. This is conventional competition. When you're going to remove a leaderboard, you're not going to be able to do any of those things. You're not going to be able to show how you're rewarding children for their performance. You create a child-centred competition by using the leaderboard in a different way, not by removing it, but by utilising its power.
I think Kikini is a good concept. We definitely need to do something to improve youth football in terms of respect and particularly the touchline stuff that some of the guys have been talking about today.
It needs to be changed because over the last 3 decades, we've seen the game on the street of kids playing naturally transfer into the adult game that we see in the present. The role models in the present game are not like the role models 30, 40, 50 years ago. The value system has changed in society as well as it has in sport, because sport to me always reflects society. The kids are growing up in an age where information is readily available. So they are mimicking their role models, and with that they are adopting and copying and pasting the behaviours. So we're now presented with a child game that looks like the adult's game.
I quite like just playing with my friends, but I also like competitive because it's quite fun to get competitive. In my school I play for the boys football team and not the girls, and it's probably more rough, the boys football team, than the girls, because the girls are more scared of the ball.
Any member of the grassroots community walking towards the system should not just have a love for the game, but a desire to help children remain in the game and to pursue avenues that allow children to fall in love with this game. Anybody who comes into the game with a hierarchy in mind, wanting to pick the best players, trying to produce the best team and trying to collect trophies, it doesn't sit with this philosophy. That's the old system. So coming into the child-centred system, it is shifting your values, putting the children first and allowing fun to flow freely.
I like playing on the playground because it's not as tense and it's easier to score goals.